I guess I promised myself that at some point along the way I would tell some Tinder stories. I'm a little bit of a Tinder expert, I guess. I've been on and off the app for like 7 or 8 years. I've had dozens of dates, and some of them have been good. Some of them have been great. Some of them have been not the best, which is where I'm going to start my story today because they're the most fun, right? I met this guy in Tulsa and we messaged back and forth a little bit. We didn't know each other really all that well, I guess. And then I was headed to Tulsa because I have family in that area and I decided to meet up with him. So we met up fairly quickly in the midst of communicating. So we agreed to meet at a sports bar. So I go one evening to the sports bar. I walk in. I'm excited to meet him from the standpoint as he's, at least from his photos, he's an attractive person. And I'm hoping, beyond hope, that he is as attractive in person, which doesn't happen a lot. So I went in. I found him at a table and he was having a drink. So I ordered a drink. And, we sat down to kind of start talking or whatever. And my first thought was, wow, his pictures, like, he's as good looking as the pictures. This is crazy. Like, all right. And then he opened his mouth. And, and from right there, I knew that whatever was getting ready to transpire over the next hour or two, that was the end of it. Just survive the next bit of time and you can get out of here. So sometimes it happens that quickly. And I think people have all sorts of excuses, oh, I've got to go deal with my kid, or, they'll have somebody call them so that they have an out in case it's not going well. I've never been that kind of person. I sort of feel that we can learn something from everyone that we meet, and that applies to bad dates as well. So I just sort of settled in and we took off. We just started talking typical first date stuff, like what do you do? How many kids do you have? All the basics that is the reason that a lot of people don't like going on dates anyway, because it feels like a job interview in a way. But he told me he worked at a funeral home, and I told him a little bit about what I did. And then he says, hey, you want to play a game of pool? And I was like, no, we're having a good time, having a conversation. I'm good with that. I don't really want to play, So we continued talking for a little bit, and I guess under the topic of jobs, he brings up human remains. So we start having a discussion about human remains, and I had to deal with human remains in the year prior to this date, and I was surprised that human remains are not like what you come across in the movies. That's like dust that just dissipates in the wind or whatever. It's heavier, it's denser, and it feels and looks a lot like cat litter. So I was kind of just talking about this a little bit, and I said I was surprised by how it looked or whatever. And he's like, what did it look like? And I was like, well, it reminded me of kitty litter. And, he's standing up or whatever, and he goes and walks in a circle and comes back at me with a big hand in the air. And I was like, oh, is this like a high five situation? Like, people still a thing? I mean, okay, well, I don't high five on the first date. Anyway, I don't remember if I did or whatever. It was one of those things. I was like, oh, okay, just keep going. So a little bit after that, again, he's like, hey, why don't we play a game of pool? And I'm like, I don't really want to play. And he's like, what, are you not good? And I was like, I don't know, I'm all right, but like, I don't want to play. Like, I don't know what to tell you, And anyway, we kept talking a little bit, and the conversation really is not going all that well. And again, he's like, hey, why don't we play a game of pool? And I'm like, okay, this is now 3 times that I've told him I cannot deal with this anymore. So there's an Apple jukebox on the wall, and I love music. I am especially a sucker for those Apple jukeboxes that have like every song you could ever think of. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go chill out over there for a bit, kind of come down from this situation and, try and salvage the moment, if you will. So I'm over there just like taking my time, looking at songs, play a couple, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice. And then I see this couple out of the corner of my eye, and they're kind of like checking me out. And I'm like, maybe they didn't like my song choice. Who knows? I don't care. But anyway, I didn't give it too much thought. So I finish making my selection or whatever, and I make my way back to my date. And so when I get back to the table, he hands me a pool stick and says, it's your turn. We're playing that couple over there, the couple that have been looking at me. I'm like, this is not happening. I mean, 4 times at least I told him I don't want to play. So now not only am I stuck in a game, I'm stuck in a game with 2 other people that I have absolutely no idea about. And they already think that I'm rude for taking so long at the jukebox because I didn't know I was in a game because I told him I didn't want to play. So I had to decide what to do. And it actually came to me pretty quickly. Once I had it straight in my mind, I grabbed my purse, I opened up my wallet, took out some money, laid it down on the table just to cover my drink and tip. And I turned to him and I said, I have told you no less than 4 times I don't want to play pool. So I'm out. And I turned and I left the bar, and he sent me a text like 10 minutes later that said, see you later, I guess, or something like. It was just ridiculous, and I ignored it. But the dates can be on a scale from, like if we're gauging 1 to 10, that one was a 1 or 2. But I have some other stories too. So you'll have to check back in later and hear what else I have to say. Peace out.